All right, welcome. Today, we're going to demystify a really common but kind of confusing engine code, P0776. We're going to break down exactly what it is, what's causing it, and most importantly, how you can figure out what's wrong.
So there it is. That dreaded check engine light pops on. You pull out the scanner, you plug it in, and it throws this code at you, P0766. And you just get that little sinking feeling in your stomach, right? Well, don't worry. We're going to cut through the jargon and figure out what your car is actually trying to tell you.
Okay, so let's get right to it. The official name is Pressure Control Solenoid B, Performance or Stuck Off. I know that's a mouthful and sounds super technical, but honestly, you can ignore most of that. The only part you really need to focus on is Pressure Control Solenoid. That little guy is the whole reason we're here today. You can kind of think of this solenoid as the unsung hero of your automatic transmission. It's back there working its magic every single time you drive, making sure everything runs smoothly. And, well, when it's not happy, your car has a very definite way of letting you know.
So what the heck is it? Well, in simple terms, it's just a small valve that's controlled by your car's computer. The computer tells it when to open and close, and that action manages the pressure of your transmission fluid. And that fluid pressure is literally what makes your car shift gears.
So its job is pretty crucial. It's regulating that hydraulic pressure, which in turn engages the clutch packs inside the transmission. This is what gives you those nice, smooth gear shifts right when you need them. And by doing that, it's actually protecting the transmission from damaging itself. Pretty important for a little valve.
Okay, you've got the code. Where on earth do you begin? Well, I have some great news for you. The number one most common cause is also the absolute easiest thing for you to check. Before you even think about buying parts or calling the mechanic, you gotta start with your transmission fluid. And I really can't stress this enough. The vast majority of the time, this P0776 code comes down to the fluid. See, if the fluid is low, the pressure will be low. And if the fluid is old and dirty, it can actually cause the moving parts inside that solenoid to physically get stuck.
So here's your first move. It's just two simple steps. First, check the fluid level. Find the dipstick, pull it out, and see where you're at. Is it low? Second, look at the fluid itself. It's supposed to be a nice, bright, translucent red. If what you see is dark brown or black, or if it has a nasty burnt smell, you've probably just found your problem. Now, here's a really important and kind of weird piece of advice. If your car has a ton of miles on it, and you're pretty sure that fluid has never been changed, you have to be careful. Sometimes doing a full fluid flush can actually cause more problems than it solves. That old, sludgy fluid might be the only thing holding tired old seals together. It's a strange but true phenomenon, so if you've got a high-mileage car, definitely do a little research before you rush to change the fluid. Okay, so let's say you checked your fluid and it's perfect. The level is good, the color is great, so what's next? Well, now we move on to the next likely culprit, the solenoid itself and the wiring that it depends on. You see, a solenoid can fail in two totally different ways. You can have an electrical failure, where the little coil of wire inside it burns out, or maybe a wire leading to it is broken. Or you can have a mechanical failure, where the little plunger inside gets physically jammed up with gunk and debris from the fluid. Either way, the result is the same, P0776.
So how do you figure out which it is? Well, you gotta play detective. First, you'll need a repair manual or diagram for your specific car to even find the solenoid. Once you've got eyes on it, you can test it with a simple multimeter. You're just checking the resistance. It should usually be somewhere between 10 and 20 ohms. If you get a 0 or a number that's way off, boom, you've found your bad part. And of course, always check the wires and plugs for any obvious damage. But what if the fluid is good and the solenoid tests out perfectly fine? Well, it's less likely, but this code can sometimes point to deeper, more serious problems inside the transmission.
And this really puts things in perspective. Look at this. Fluid issues and the solenoid itself account for 90% of cases. 90. So the odds are really in your favor that it's one of those two things. But every now and then, the problem lies deeper, in something called the valve body, or very rarely, the car's computer. So that valve body, you can think of it as the mission control center for your transmission. It's a complex maze of passages that directs fluid where it needs to go. If one of those passages gets clogged or damaged, it can cause this code. And then there's the transmission control module, or TCM. That's the actual computer brain. But honestly, a computer failure is super, super rare. I wouldn't even consider it unless every other possibility has been exhausted. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, so let's pull all of this together into a really clear, logical action plan that you can use to figure this thing out. This is basically your cheat sheet. If your main symptom is just harsh or delayed shifting, start with the fluid. That's almost always the cause. If your car feels like it's stuck in one gear, that's often called limp mode, that points more directly to an electrical issue with the solenoid. And finally, if you see P0776 plus a bunch of other transmission codes, yeah, that's a sign it's probably time to call in a professional.
And that really brings us to the most important point. A code like P0776 isn't just a random part failure. It's a symptom. More often than not, it's a symptom of poor fluid health and missed maintenance. So the real question isn't just, how do I fix this code? The real question is my car trying to tell me something bigger about how I'm taking care of it?